Hello gamers. Dungeons were announced like before the end update. I don't know if you remember. Everyone's like, okay, let's get our stats up. This will be hard. This will be cool. Dungeons doesn't get released. We don't get any info about dungeons. One day, like 4 months later, we get a sneak peek. We see Mini Clone failing tic-tac-toe in a dungeon. Kinda cool. Then a while after Alpha Hypixel Network or whatever pops out of nowhere and people start playing dungeons over there, and then dungeons gets released on the main server and it's actually quite different. And um yeah, it kind of was oops, I'm wait I really like the catacombs, and a lot of people did, a lot of people didn't, but it was kind of lame. We all gotta admit that. Like, honestly, I was kind of expecting it to be like a roguelike thing, but it's not even close. Yeah, it's randomly generated, but that's pretty much it. And now they recently kind of discontinued it because they made Floor 7 boss be Necron, which is the last boss. It was supposed to go up to 10 floors. The catacombs were supposed to go up to 10 floors. I know there will be other dungeons, but they said they won't be working for quite a while. Well, there's another thing that exists, and it's called Master Mode. If you go on the dungeons and Master Mode, you'll see it says not coming soon. Hypixel knows they won't be working for quite a while. I wanna say that I'm glad they're working on islands. Islands are way cooler than new catacombs floor. Last island we got was like the dungeon hub. We got it 5 months ago. The last island we got before the dungeon hub was around 7 months before the dungeon hub, which was the Jerry Island. And then before the Jerry Island, we got the park like 1 month before it. And then 2 months before the park, we got the End Island. Yeah, we used to get way more islands than we getting now, so I think it's a good call to do that. This will also, I think, it will reinterest people into dungeons when they come back, because you're always way more excited for stuff you don't get than for stuff you get. Anyways, but I thought, catacombs is, or dungeons in general, is pretty much done. Doesn't exist anymore for the time being. So I thought I should make a concept of master mode I would enjoy. Probably way too complex, probably not what Hypixel's going for, not even close. But I still really think this would be really cool. And as a showcase dungeon, we're obviously going to be using the catacombs, because it's the only dungeon we know what it looks like, so might as well show. Lore wise, what's happening, what's going on, why are the dungeons suddenly harder? I don't know, I just came up with something like the catacombs, I don't know, they fused with the past spirits or something dumb like that. I think it would make sense to have something to do with time travel, because remember, in the current catacombs you can fight the same boss over and over, so I think that will be nice fit. So what are we going for? Well, first off, a few nerfs which I came up with to make this type of dungeon more interesting and make you actually have to think. So first off, healer can only revive once per floor. You can still use fairies, but yeah, it's really boring when you just have to wait for the healer to get the revival back. That won't make healer useless, obviously. The healer has a lot of stuff he can do, like actually heal. That's why it's called healer, not necromancer. Tank. The more enemies aggro you, the less HP. This will discourage tanks from using jingle bells and just taking all the damage and making the game an absolute pushover for everyone else. Other people still need to be tanky. You can't just have the tank take all the damage. Also, enemies are gonna be really too strong, so either way I don't think they could be able to. Obviously the scaling couldn't be too dramatic, because then people will just use another class and use tank stuff. I don't really know how this would be balanced, but for example in the Seidan fight it would be stupid if a good tank could just tank all the terracottas and everyone else just punches them. Mage. Attacks stay the same up close but weaker at a distance. Cause I mean mages have a lot of ranged attacks and the ranged character is supposed to be the archer, not the mage. So I think it would make sense for the mage to be more of a crowd control kind of character, because a lot of the magic attacks are area of effect attacks. And yeah, we're gonna get more into that in a bit, but yeah. Berserker, 10% left life steal and 10% less damage with over 80% HP. I think this would encourage the Berserker to both go in more and also to not rely as much on life steal, which so actually plays down power orbs and healing and stay close to the healer, but at the same time still go in, cause then you deal quite a bit more damage. Archer, low damage up close at 9 meters or further normal damage. Archer, as I said earlier, is supposed to be the range one, so you deal if you fighting someone in around the first 3 meters, you're gonna deal quite tiny amounts of damage. Then if they're like there, you're gonna deal decent. And now you're supposed to take them out from a distance. So I'd say probably from around here. I think this is where 9 blocks go from there. I'm not sure. You should be dealing full damage. Remember that archers are really powerful right now, and that's why maybe 9 meters is a bit much, but they're still gonna be really good even up close. So this is more like an encouragement, not a way to make archers useless up close, but more of a way to encourage archers to go out of their way to stay as far as possible. Also, general nerfs in a 5-player party. If you're near all the other 4 players, you're good, but if you're 4 players total, so you're only around 3 of your partners, you get 1% less stats. Around 2 other players, you get 5% less stats. Around 1 other player, you get 10% less stats. And if you're alone, you get 25% less stats. So yeah, this added up with the stronger enemies, which I'm gonna show you off in a bit. Will add up, and you will be encouraged to travel through as a team, which I think is the most fun part about the catacombs. When you work as a team in dungeons, it's so fun, it's so good, but you're not really encouraged to do so because you're so much slower. Well, now you kinda have to. Of course, you can still get really good stats and solo it, but I think that's actually a good thing because I mean, also it's much harder than usual than it was before, which is perfect because all of the enemies in dungeons get 1 or 2 shot pretty easily. You don't even have to do that floors, you don't have to get that strong, so it doesn't really feel deserved, it just feels like the way it should be. So now when you reach that part of overpowered, you will feel like you deserve it, and it's just much better. The reason I feel good when killing a tier 4 revenant in 10 seconds is because I remember the time when I was barely able to do it under 2 minutes. 10 seconds, 2 minutes, quite a big difference. It just feels good, and I think that's a thing slayers actually have over dungeons. And another thing slayers have over dungeons is the fact that you can do it solo. So obviously dungeons is supposed to be a team thing, but I think doing it solo should be an option. Solo run, you get double stats. So if you run alone, you get double stats. That should add up to slightly less than 4 times CHP, and 2 times, probably quite a bit less than 2 times damage. It would still add up to less than 5 players. 5 players is still the recommended amount, especially since it goes faster. But if you really want to, you can do it solo. And I think the option just being there is a really good thing. When you're solo, you also get 75% of the combat XP, so It's slightly less overpowered because obviously if you're solo you kill everyone, your teammates don't kill some of the mobs, so you get much more combat XP, so it's nerfed. Catacombs XP or dungeoneering XP in general is going to be buffed because it's gonna take longer, so you know it makes sense. Probably not. Probably those buffs and nerfs aren't perfectly balanced, but how it's supposed to be worse than a 5-player party, but it's supposed to still be an option, not that much worse. It's supposed to still be doable without that much more effort. Next up, 3 types of enemies, which are kind of already in the catacombs, but due to how weak they are, you can't really observe them. Okay, so first off, you have the heavyweight. Slow, but stupid strong up close. Weak against archer. Essentially, come at you slowly and they probably like 2 or 3 shot you. So yeah, you have to be really careful around them, and obviously archers can take advantage of their range to kill them from far away and not ever be in real danger. Ranged. Takes a while to start shooting, weak against berserker. You know, like vanilla skeletons, they don't immediately shoot, like the first time they see you, they don't shoot. Okay, I don't know exactly how it works, but I know it's something along those lines. Similarly, the range would take like 2 or 3 seconds, maybe just one. No, I think 3 or 5 seconds, because you have to like see them first to start shooting. Afterwards, they start dealing stupid amounts of damage and they're also ranged, so berserkers have to go in and kill them quickly. And then you have grouped, kinda tiny. I don't think I should have chosen the silverfish, but it works. Weak, but there's a lot of them. Weak against mage. As I said earlier, mages have area of effect attack, so it makes sense for the weaker but more enemies to be weak against mage. Healer and tank don't have an enemy they're effective against, because healer and tank are support roles. They're not really supposed to be. For damage, if we have 3 damage oriented classes and 2 support classes. Support classes are kind of underrepresented, but whatever. Anyways, let's go down to the catacombs. So now we're in the entrance, I guess. I didn't actually make a catacomb, you know. We might as well take a blessing of life or whatever. You know, walk around. Oh, cool maze. Oh, we got the watcher already. Wow. So yeah, the watcher tells us whatever challenge without leaving the room. Uh, the watcher currently is actually really lame in my opinion, because you can easily cheese the enemies. There's a lot of stuff you can do against the enemies, and those special properties he gives them, except the boomer one, which is kinda interesting combat wise. The rest are just slight stat or visual upgrades. You know, or different drop doesn't really feel like you're fighting something different. I propose fight modifiers, like here in this case the watcher tells us to beat the corpses without leaving the room, and he'll make them weaker to make it more durable. Other examples could be without taking damage, so you get one shot by them, and he'll make them much slower to make it more durable, or without healing, and he'll make them okay. I don't know, but you can see those would actually legitimately change the way you'd fight the watcher. Like, you can't just go out and spam mage beam. You're stuck in here and you can only leave once you're done. After we defeat the watcher, you know, we get our chest. Actually, I don't think you get a reward chest on the entrance, so we just go down. And wow, choose your upgrade. This is the biggest difference between master mode and the current mode, at least my idea of master mode. Imagine all floors are connected. I mean, it makes sense. When you go from your house, you wanna go up from floor 1 to floor 2, you don't go back down to the entrance and then go directly to floor 2. You go up the stairs, and in this case it's down the stairs, but yeah, and in between those floors you choose an upgrade. So there are three types of upgrades. The obvious stat increase, like 10% more regeneration. The military buff, like cheaper chests, or you could probably have stuff like more catacombs XP at the end. This is gonna be kinda hard. This is gonna make the future floors indirectly harder because you didn't get a buff. And then you have stuff like this glass cannon one shot anything once. So it's consumables, or it's special items that are really strong but you can only have in that specific catacomb run or dungeon run rather. A glass cannon, for example, you stuck on a boss, you one shot it. You could like save it. If you're feeling confident, you can save the glass cannon and use it against Necron at the very end. And yeah, you have to get more than half of the team to agree on which upgrade you choose, and then you can go on to the nether, because yeah, the Y is really low. I couldn't really go much lower, so I just made the rest of this in the nether. Hope the fog doesn't bother you. Here are a few proposed buffs for the bosses, because honestly Necron is a really cool boss. He's really hard, but the fight itself, like the things you have to do during the fight, are actually quite cool in my opinion. So I thought of ways to kind of fix the other bosses. You have Bonzo here, new bullet hell type patterns, like imagine in the second phase, like he goes up in the sky and you can't shoot him, and like shows where you aren't able to stay and you just go. I think that would be really cool, and dodging that kind of stuff would be pretty fun. Scarf, second phase undead are stronger. You usually just rush Scarf in the second phase, cause I mean he's really easy. He's like the second boss, the second proper boss. So it makes sense you completely destroy him, but now that he's as strong as Satan, and the undead are stronger, you might want to actually kill off the undead first. Maybe they'll have also less HP, but much less HP than Scarf, but also be much stronger, so you kinda have to get rid of them first again. Professor Dum Dum turns into a creeper LMA, okay. So the last phase of the Professor, where he like turns into an Elder Guardian. This time he messes it up and he turns into a creeper, and he can't really attack you while he's a creeper. So he just runs away in corners, and you have, instead of just spamming attacks on him and his guardians, you actually have to go around the guardians, avoid contact with the guardians as much as possible, and get to the professor and punch him down. I think that would be a cool mix-up. Thorn. Spectator seats are blocked off pretty simple. You actually get to fight Thorn himself, not just camp and spam magic attacks on the animals. And then you have Livid. This is totally Livid anyways. Slower, much stronger, stay separated. So you know how pretty much Livid's whole gimmick is that only one of the Livids is actually Livid and you have to kill the real Livid. Yeah, well, they all attack you at the same time, and it's kinda, they're really fast, and it's like the whole point of the run is the fight is to figure out which is the real Livid, but you actually in reality just spam area of effect attacks and hope you eventually kill him. it it's not a good fight at all. It's really lame. Yeah, I hope this would at least kinda fix it, at least make the whole gimmick of the fight kinda happen. Then you have Satan. This is totally Satan anyways. More devastating attacks for the giant, like the ground pound the giants have, and the swords, which you kinda have to dodge because they one shot you or at least deal a lot of damage. Make them more common. Make them more common. That would actually make you have to pay attention to the fight during the second phase, and the second and the third phase, and not just spam attack. And if you're really high level, you could probably still tank them and just destroy the giants really quickly, but I think this would be more interesting. You know, actually have to pay attention to the giants and dodge their very predictable attacks, but you still have to dodge them after all. Even though it's really easy, it's still hard if you're sleeping or whatever. And we finally have Necron. Extra phase in which we escape the catacombs. Okay, picture this. You punch Necron, you kill him at the very end, and the catacombs start shattering or something, and there's this really cool chase sequence. Or you're in the Skyblock hub and the fire chest just drop out of nowhere and you can choose which one you like. I think that would be a really cool, memorable final phase for the catacombs. And yeah, I think we're done here. Please let me know what stuff you disagree with or agree with in the comments below. Maybe if enough people watch the video and cared enough to give actual feedback, I could make a part 2 with more full-fledged concepts. But yeah, I I really think a mini tiny really basic version of roguelike would be cool inside of Skyblock. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.